Good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on a Friday. Yes, it's here. Finally. Woo! Yeah, great. World Series starts today. Yankees and Dodgers. Man, throwback. I remember growing up, the Yankees and the Dodgers. Yesterday, boy, what a terrible night. Yeah. I'm born and raised in Syracuse. Big Syracuse fan. We had a big football game, and we sucked. It makes it really hard when you throw the ball to the other team. Not once, not twice, not three, 5 times. 3 of them for touchdowns. Yeah. By the way, those were all in the first half. We got blown out. Maybe it's better that way. I was thinking about it, and I decided it was better that they just got – the game was over literally before halftime. You just do, okay, game's over. Maybe that it was better than, losing like on the last second or overtime, or your kicker misses a field goal that could have won the game, right? And you're all upset. Hey, when you get whooped, nothing to be upset about. You just got plain out whooped. Speaking of getting whooped, that's what gold, silver, and now palladium joining the party as, the year of chaos is here. Right now, breaking news. The head of, I want to make sure I get this right here, because I don't want to, the GOP chair, his name is Mike Turner out of Ohio, and he chairs the House Intelligence Committee. So it's a pretty big title, okay? House Intelligence Chair, I guess confirming once again the presence of North Korean troops, and said this morning: if North Korean troops enter Ukraine, we need to consider taking direct military action against the North Korean troops. So the war drums, Jason, they just keep beating. Israel said that the attack is still coming. They had it delayed because of that security breach, but don't worry. They're going to show the world, apparently, what's going to happen. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Of course, we got the election coming. For those of you concerned, will we know who the next president will be on election night? I'm going to go with no. And one of the problems, Maricopa County, right here in Arizona, Maricopa County, basically that's where all of us live, right? That Phoenix, Scottsdale, Glendale, Mesa, right? The big population. It's the big county here in Arizona. They just announced this morning, going to take them 10 to 13 days to count all the votes and make sure it's right. So, of course, Arizona's still a battleground state. These are interesting times. So it's going to be, that's going to give everyone a lot of confidence. The longer it takes, the less confidence people have, right? That's the way I look at it. But nonetheless, remember before computers, we could know before the election was over who won. Now, apparently, it can't be done. It just cannot be done. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. How about that to kick off a Friday, Jason? Just great news.
We'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. I mean, it seems like Israel attacking Iran was almost like a road project, right? Doesn't it seem like we're delaying the road construction on the highway, whatever, and then as soon as they get it started, then it just sits there forever, and it never ends, right?
Right. They got it all blocked up, but you don't see anyone doing any work. You're like, right? What's going on? The road's blocked, but I don't see anybody working. We'll see. I don't know. It just seems like it's a never-ending amount of misinformation going all over the place. The BRICS summit has concluded. Here's what we know. More members are coming. They didn't announce who they're going to be yet. They just announced that they will be expanding. My guess is we're going to see several more Asian countries, several more African and Middle East countries, and dare I say, could we even see Mexico joining BRICS? I don't know. There's rumors circulating that they want to be involved. We'll see. Vladimir Putin, they actually, it was more symbolic than anything else, but he had a BRICS $100 bill. And it had like all the flags of all the countries there. And, of course, they said, hey, we're actually going to do a digital BRICS. Russia, the one thing that has been announced, they are going to be setting up their own clearinghouse. Russia is also going to be where a lot of the, I guess, the gold part of this is going to factor into, as you know, the BRICS have been talking about this gold-backed currency, and it looks like that's where Russia's going to be a big player. They're going to be setting up their own, I guess, BRICS gold exchange, for lack of a better term. So, Jason, a lot of the things that we had talked about looks like they're happening. It looks like they're absolutely happening. It wasn't, let's just say this, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, they really hit the home run. This was more like a ground rule double. That's what I'll call this BRICS meeting. A ground rule double here as, well, they wanted to dethrone the dollar. We'll see how it goes. We'll be back right after this. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason wrapping up the week on this Friday, and there is a lot to talk about. The Dow is up 90. The S&P's up 41. The NASDAQ's up 250. The 10-year note flat at 420. Crude oil is higher today, up about 75 cents. Gold is up 4 right now, 27.41. Silver, not shocked here, up 20 cents right now, just below $34. Platinum is flat. Palladium, congratulations, you guys were smart enough to listen to me yesterday. Palladium's up another $40 here, $1,182. Remember, the big news on palladium is the U.S. now is asking to sanction Russia's palladium markets. They supply 40% of the world's palladium. So, yeah, that's going to be a problem. But remember, diversification is going to be the key here. How high are interest rates going to go? Right? It's so weird to say that because they want them to go lower, but they can't, especially with the overwhelming amount of supply. And wait till I tell you, I'm going to lay out what came out of BRICS today. You're going to want to be the most diversified you've ever been. Pile into gold, pile into silver. I'll give you, Lynette Zhang has just changed her forecast just for the last 2 months of the year. So you're going to want to pay attention to that. And then, of course, what is going to come after? Right, what type of economy are we going to have? As we talked about, Goldman Sachs saying, hey, guess what? We're going to be lucky to get 3% growth over the next 10 years. Check out our friends at Y Refi. You can get up to 10.25% fixed rate of return per year. 10.25%. Not correlated to the stock market. Doesn't care about World War III. Doesn't care about elections. Heck, it doesn't care about BRICS or de-dollarization or anything else. You can use it as income. You can compound it. You can change your mind. You can start by compounding it and then turn it to income if you want. It's up to you. No fees. They don't attack your principal. Right? None of that stuff you get. No restrictions that you get like with mutual funds and all that other stuff. They don't have those. Check them out. InvestYRefi.com. The word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just do the easy thing. Just call them up. 888-Y-REFI-24, 888-973-3924. But let's break down, I said it wasn't a home run. Because I think for a home run for the BRICS, I think they needed to tell us who the next, is it 5, 7, 10? There was over 30 non-member countries that went to this summit. Yeah, so much for Russia being isolated, right? Not to mention all the other BRICS guys were all there. The only one that didn't make it was the guy from Brazil because he fell and smashed his head, and they're like, hey, you can't fly. But here's what they decided. That they're going to create their own precious metals exchange. They're in this. It's a mechanism for trading metals within the BRICS countries. The formation of fair and equitable competition based on exchange principles. They say that they're going to include pricing for the metals, standards for production and the trade of metals, accreditation of market participants, clearing and auditing within the BRICS countries. So here's the one thing that we know. They said they're going to use the standard principles that are already applying. So I think that's an easy thing, right? Okay, we're going to have 400-ounce gold contracts, 1,000-ounce silver contracts, blah, blah, blah. The uniformity's the same, so it's seamless. But the big thing in it, at the end of this, is that they said that they will become a key regulator for the pricing of precious metals. And when you think about it, right, they're going to be, when you talk about the amount of gold these BRICS countries have, now all of a sudden you're like, okay, they're not messing around. This isn't a small amount. But they didn't say just gold. Silver, platinum, palladium, right? All inclusive of that. I don't know about oil. That I didn't see. So we'll have to wait on that. But this is something, remember, that when they talk about the currency itself, this BRICS currency, right? They've been talking about gold backing, and Jason, there's been a lot of people talking that they will simply reprice the value of gold when they do this, and they have to do this step first to actually be able to do it.
That's right. That's why when you look at the U.S. debt clock, who knows what they'll reprice it at. But if you go currency versus ounces, silver and gold could be a very, very large number, Joe. And I don't think they'll go that far. But what if they just do halfway, right? Halfway.
Right. Just adding a zero to gold would be, think about it. I mean, that'd be incredible. They talked about this being an apolitical currency. In this, they released a white paper. So this is another big thing. What's a white paper? This is like an outline. Okay, when we release white papers all the time. Matter of fact, the Minneapolis Fed just released one about Bitcoin. I'll tell you about that as well. But in this white paper, a unit, as they're calling it, will be pegged to 40% of the value of gold and 60% to the basket of BRICS national currencies. So they're laying out here. This is the first time I've actually seen, we've heard rumors about this. But now it's been written, right? We've got this white paper. It's designed as an apolitical currency addressing the concerns of countries worried about the weaponization of the dollar. They're calling it a quickening, if you will, of an acceleration of this de-dollarization into a new system that is going to indeed be backed by gold, at least potentially, according to this white paper. Yes, they're going to do it. Is it going to be 1-to-1? No. But it does look like this 40-60 basket is what they're aiming at. When they're talking about this new system, the most probable outcome is there will no longer be an incentive to own dollars or U.S. treasuries. And, Jason, this is really what we're talking about. When you're talking about treasuries, you're really talking about dollars. I mean, because that's what it is. What are you doing when you buy? You're loaning the U.S. money, and you're accepting the fact that you're going to get paid back in dollars. Right? That's the and what's happening now, number one, obviously the U.S., we like to weaponize it now. We know that. And then on top of this, right, with inflation, the reward for holding the dollar really it's become a punishment, right? Think about this. If anyone bought a 10-year note 5 years ago at 0.5%, right, they're getting demolished right now. They're not real happy. So this is just something where, like I said, I'm calling this a ground rule double. But it is definitely something we're going to see how this is going to work. But when you look at central banks returning gold back home, Germany, Austria, Slovakia, Argentina, well, now Argentina may be sending some back out, the Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, Belgium, Egypt, Senegal, Romania, Nigeria, Poland, Ghana, India, Turkey, France, Serbia, Venezuela, Algeria, Cameroon, South Africa, Czechoslovakia, and the list keeps going. These are nations that are bringing the gold home on top of nations that are flat out just buying more and more gold. And what we've noticed from the countries that have joined BRICS and the countries that want to join BRICS, all of a sudden they start gold buying, Jason. That's the pattern we've seen.
No, they're seeing an alternative to dollars. And how many times have you said you diversify, right? Even if you're not really against dollars, this gives you another bucket to put your money in, right? So regardless, it's almost like a big Mary Kay convention. They're bringing in new consultants to sell the product, right? That's kind of what this whole BRICS meeting seems to be. You know, hey, we're going to take on some new consultants, but you have to qualify. You need to know what you're doing. You got to be part of the team, right? You got to be a part of what we're doing. And by next year, I mean, how many of these new countries will be in this? I think they're going to continually and more rapidly bring more countries in. And I don't know what qualifications or what rules. I think they're still working out the details. But I think why wouldn't a country want to have another outlet for currency, right? You might as well have another one.
Right, and have choices, right? This is and we've said this all. Dollar's not going away. Okay? It's still going to be a major player. The problem for us is we built the system where we were it's based on being the only player. That's the problem, right? You can't have $40 trillion of debt because you got to remember. I know the official number now. We're the next 2 weeks, give or take, we're going to be $36 trillion. You got to remember, the Fed has $7 trillion that they don't count. Max Morale, well, it's who knows where it is, right? 40-some trillion already. And we add trillions of dollars every year. It only could work when we were the only player. It doesn't work when you have competition, and this is what it is. In addition, they talked about an alternative to SWIFT. For those of you not the trucking company, this is how countries pay each other. Okay, this is SWIFT is what it's called. It's like when you use your credit. Think about it when you use your debit card or your credit card, right? It says Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover, whatever it is. SWIFT is like the credit card in country-to-country payments. BRICS announced, and we already knew this, that they have been working on their own digital payment system. And here's the funny part. Guess who they've been working with them on? The IMF and the Bank of International Settlements. Yeah. Like Jason and I said, this is the same banks, right? It's the system. They just want to be a bigger part of the system. And according to the Bank of International Settlements, they have been working with Saudi Arabia and China, along with Australia and others, with the intent to introduce a cashless economy. They put a date on it. Within the next 2 years, this will be up and fully operational. Yeah. 800-951-0592. And like I said, this is early here. We're in the early stages of de-dollarization. We're in the early stages of a new competitor making their way into the world stage. You know, and when you think about what China's the second largest economy in the world dollar-wise. It's the largest in stuff. India's number 4. And let's face it, over the next 20 to 30 years, I mean, they're probably going to be 1 and 2. Or 1 in 3. And, you know, you throw Russia in there, you throw Saudi Arabia in there. Who else are they going to be bringing to the table? They're going to have a group that comprises well over half the world's GDP. I mean, already I think they're at 40%, maybe even 45% already. And so I don't know how this all plays out. I know that gold is going to have, you know, I guess it's a moment in the sun, along with silver, all the precious metals. Been interesting what's going to happen digitally. That's the big unknown. Do we go cashless? At some point in the future, probably. I don't know that cash goes away, you know, in 5 years or 10 years, but it'll just be harder and harder to use. That they'll eventually, they'll make it. I'll give you an example. To go to a high school football game, because I was like, well, gosh, you know, it's, you know, you got to have cash for that because, you know, it's $3, $5, whatever it is. They're digital. You cannot use cash to get into where my sons went to high school. My wife and I, we still have friends, you know, their kids are playing on the team. We're like, oh, all right, we'll go to a game. The only way to get into the game, you had to have a phone, buy the tickets online, and then show them the receipt. You couldn't, hey, here's $10 for me and my wife. You know, we don't take cash. But it's just going to be harder and harder to use. The Minneapolis Fed released, you know, we talk about these white papers. They have recommended in their recently published working paper that described it necessary to tax and or ban on digital currencies, i.e. Bitcoin and the rest. According to the research, again, this was the Minneapolis Fed, Bitcoin makes it difficult for government to maintain a permanent primary deficit because it provides an alternative. See, remember what I just said earlier. Our system's set up to where we've got to be the only one. That's how it's set up. And already we know that's not going to happen. And now even Bitcoin is in their sights. A legal prohibition against Bitcoin can restore unique implementation of permanent primary deficits, and so can a tax on Bitcoin. Right? So, in other words, we're going to make it to where either we can just ban it, and if we're not going to ban it, we're going to tax it so heavily that nobody will want it. Right? That's essentially what this working paper said. Then out of India, following the recent research papers from the U.S. Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank, which, by the way, they said the same thing, the government of India is now reported out of the Hindu Times that key institutions and regulators that the government consulted on the issue of cryptocurrencies are in favor of prohibiting private cryptos such as Bitcoin and Ether, since any advantage they may offer in the areas of benefit transfer can be leveraged by the central bank digital currencies. Central bank digital currencies can do whatever cryptos do. In fact, central bank digital currencies have more benefit than cryptos, minus the risk associated with private cryptocurrencies, and overall are just a better option. So, Jason, kind of interesting, all of this talk about, these cryptos and the central banks, the ECB in the United States. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody wants to say it out loud. Are saying, hey, wait a minute. This is going to just compete against us. Why we shouldn't allow it. And we can do it in different ways. We can ban it or we can just tax it. And therefore, hey, you can own it if you want. But we're going to tax it, which means I guess you can't be private, right? They're going to want to know who owns it so they can tax them.
Yeah, it's tricky to operate privately with cryptos. You can do it. You better know what you're doing because everything. Yeah. The problem with cryptos is really one thing: the on-ramp and the off-ramp. Once you're in there, you can put it in a place where it doesn't. No, there's no country in the world that's going to mess with you because they won't know how to get to your stuff. But just like gold, if you have to move it into a currency to then use it. Because you're not going to go to King Soopers and give them a couple ounces of silver for your groceries. You have to find a way of transferring it, and then that's the tricky part. And I know there's guys out there that are smart enough to do it, but there's a learning curve, right, Joe? And there's a large learning curve for a lot of people. And I don't know if they'll ever make it because of the exchanges. The crypto exchanges are how they're going to tax it, and the crypto exchanges are going to be how they ban it. And there's probably crypto guys listening. Oh, no, but this and this and this. Yeah, that's fine. But how many people are going to do this and this and that? A currency works when people are using it. That's the thing. It's the faith. It's the people wanting to use it. And if governments are saying we don't want to use it, that really limits the usage for the citizens, Joe.
I know, so much to talk about. Right? We haven't gotten to Starbucks yet. We haven't gotten to state debts yet. I mean, there's so many things we haven't even got to today. We haven't even gotten to durable goods, by the way. Not great, but we thought that was going to be the case. Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. And we're going to have a special coming up just about. I'm trying to work out some details here for that. But stay tuned with us. Be patient. Here's something. Yeah, this is getting something big is getting ready to happen. Hong Kong authorities announced they are going to have a significant expansion in their gold vault capacity, increasing it from 150 tons to 1,000 tons. I mean, that's crazy. That's like 8 times. So Hong Kong saying the move to bolster its position as a global trading hub and the need because of increased demand. The initial, they're going to immediately double its size, more than double its size by another 200 tons and finish the build out at 1,000. Singapore says that it just opened a new six-story vault capable of storing 500 tons of gold and 10,000 tons of silver. Uh-oh. But wait, there's more. The New York Federal Reserve. What? Yeah, a $2.5 billion renovation involves expanding its gold storage capabilities. The speculation aligns with the thesis that BRICS nations are accumulating gold, forcing the U.S. to potentially back its treasuries with gold. I don't know. Listen, I don't know that. But we've been talking for a while about the fact that the matter is they want to de-dollarize, and what they're saying is, I don't want dollars for your treasuries. That's what they're saying. Will that be? Don't know. But, Jason, very interesting the amount of gold storage that is exploding look at Texas, right? Texas got their own gold storage now. I think Nevada now built their own gold. We've got states doing it here. Now the Fed has to do it all over the world. Obviously the Russians, they're doing it. The Chinese are doing it. Hong Kong's doing it. Singapore's doing it. I think the thing I found most interesting too is all of a sudden people are building silver storage facilities. These are all, and listen, it's not like you're not being told. The warnings are there. It's just a matter of, are you going to do anything about it or sit on your hands, right? Obviously, they're not building these storage facilities because they anticipate there's not going to be any demand for it. The reason they're doing it is because everyone's calling, wanting a place to store their gold, Jason.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it should be that big of a problem, but by voicing that they are looking for storage or building storage is just another loud indication that, well, for us to store it means we're going to be buying it, right, Joe? Biggest entities all across the world, central banks and governments are buying gold and storing it. So I guess if you want to piggyback upon what the biggest entities of the world are doing, then you would have to be buying it now, not selling it. Although if you're going to sell it, we're here for that as well. Well, we can help you move out of it if you have got some bills to pay, and there's a lot of guys out there with bills to pay. But we really encourage that you buy in this time. You're being told loud and clear that you should be buying, Joe.
Yeah, and again, if you do need to sell, and if you've got a large quantity you want to sell, call us, because we do things a little differently. We'll actually partner with you on a large sellout and allow you to gain even more money where we retail out and things of that nature. Obviously, hey, you need $1,000 today, $5,000 today, $10,000 today. We get that. But if you want to potentially sell a large piece of it, call us. We'll partner with you, and you end up with more money, and our customers end up with a great deal, right? So we do all of those things. You just got to call us, 800-951-0592. But this is real. This is a big shift in the world order. It's still a banking system. Let's not kid ourselves. The difference is there's other people now that are like, we want our seat at the table. And essentially, let's face it, Jason, the easiest way to say it is we're tired of being dictated by the United States. Anybody that does something that they don't like, they weaponize it, they ban. And now, of course, really, I think the biggest problem is their debt's out of control, right? Look at what's going on over there. Why do we want this? Why do we want to hold this? And here we come, and we're going to use the old reliable, that the old dinosaur gold as a way to do it. And again, I think there is going to be, I don't know when that'll be. Is it 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Is it a year from now? I don't know, but I think there's going to be a major revaluation in gold to accomplish this transition. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. I just got confirmation we're going to be able to do this. Big opportunity here. Gold continuing to rise. Today's special, $5 Indians. Remember earlier in the week you could get 4 $5 liberties for $3,000. Right, that's $750. 2 5s less than a 10. Today you can get 4 $5 Indians for $3,000. $750 a piece. That is $40 off. Here's the thing. Think about this right now at $29.25. I don't know that we'll ever see $2,700, $2,800 again. I don't know. We'll see. But $29.25 for a 20. Why not get 4 5s, and especially Indians? You're only going to pay less than $19 per coin to get it in a fractional denomination, and to do it with an Indian. This is I hate to say it, but I know it's a little more. It's $75 more for the same amount of gold. You're better off buying the $4 or $5 Indians today, or one. They're $750. I've got about 100 of them. Jason, this is a huge opportunity. It was a great opportunity with the Liberties, but these are the Indians. I think it's the best coin ever minted. The male Indian with his war headdress. I mean, it's a pretty sweet looking coin. On top of the fact, as you know, it was super low mintage. 4 $5 Indians. It's only $3,000. But tell you what, $29.95 for every 4 you buy. So I'll throw off a 5, but they're $750 a piece. 800-951-0592. I remember the last time there were some dealers out that ran Indians up. There was a time when a $5 Indian was hundreds of dollars more than a $5 Liberty. Not only today can you buy it for almost the price of a 20, you can buy it for less than 2 $10 Liberties. You can buy it less than $5 Liberties. Huge opportunity here. 800-951-0592. And, well, try to be your own central bank, right, Jason? Do what these countries are doing. Be your own gold storage facility.
For people that are newer to buying gold and silver, I've always said the most important first step is to get a good gold and silver dealer, then to figure out what you're going to buy. So if you're listening, you say, why would I pay even $75 more for the same amount of gold? When you pay more for a gold or silver product on the front end, you will get paid more for a $5 Indian than you will a $5 Lib if you sell them back to us. So you're already taken care of. So when you can buy them cheaper, when Joe goes on these Indians and starts selling them or graded coins for cheap prices, you need to understand that when you sell those back to us, we're going to give you more for the graded coin versus the raw coin. We're going to give you more for the Indian than for the Lib. So keep that in mind, that when we have these on special, that when it comes time to sell, which you always got to figure out when you're going to exit. How are you going to exit when you buy into any instrument? Know that when you deal with Patriot Trading Group, we'll make sure to give you more for your Indians than you're going to get for your $5 libs.
800-951-0592. Got two lines open. Get on it while you can.